We've seen and heard of so many swirling prophecies. Many, of course, have been nonsense, and others have been spot on. There are also a lot of conspiracy truths that are being unveiled from the depths of what I would call the underworld. And there are always some ridiculous theories thrown into the mix. This is such a powerful time to unlock and turn on inner discernment. It's crucial. Since 2012, there's been a lot of colliding energies. There's a lot of extreme viewpoints. And always it's like swinging the pendulum in the most extreme of ways, back and forth. We're in a time of bringing true harmony back into alignment. The winter solstice in 2012 denoted a galactic time, as we all know, of profound shifts for the Earth and for all of us, for humanity, for the flora, for the fauna, for all of organic living creation. In this video today, we're going to review these shifting and winding end times that are and will be commencing for some time, and how this is related to igniting the divine human. There's a huge emphasis on HU, which we're going to explore. So let's peer into these things together. It's now 12 years since December 21st, 2012. I want to welcome you to my channel, Awakening Magick. My name is Natalie Viglione, and if you're new to catching my content, welcome. If you're a regular viewer, hello again, beautiful soul. And I thank you so much for your continued support. Together, let's go on this quest. This quest is to reclaim our power, to heal deeply, step confidently onto our sacred soul's path, and together awakening the organic magic within. And this is my mission. And this mission to unfold and awaken the organic magic is brought through an angle of disruption, breaking up and out from the old, enslaving, limiting, oppressive energies, and returning to the divine origin, and to speak hidden truths back into this realm. And what I'm blending here is storytelling of original creation with healing guidance, because I'm a master herbalist in training with a beautiful soul. I'm a flower essence practitioner, and I'm a root cause protocol consultant. And if you want some more information, go to natalieviglione.com to learn more about all that I do and what my husband and I are bringing through together. The end times weren't the end times. It has been very confusing for many, though. And then there were many of us that innately knew what this meant, that this is an energetic shift. And this, of course, brings up thoughts about the 2012 phenomenon, which were really strange beliefs with big cataclysmic events at the very core. And as to what would happen on December, or not on, but in or around the winter solstice of 2012. Many of us had realized that it had nothing to do with cataclysm, but it had something to do with energetically shifting time, and more specifically that it was ending a cycle. So this huge paradigm shift. It was a shift in timelines is really what we're speaking to in 2012. And there's been shifting timelines in many points. 2016 was one, and we recently shifted into one of the highest aligned timeline with unity consciousness, or Christ consciousness, which is really connecting back into the truly divine primeval essence of all that is, the primeval creator, because the creator of all things, this energy has no beginning and it has no end. And so all of us here on earth and the earth, we've been destined for something far greater than the experience in which we've had and has been for thousands of years. And so it's a reconnection time is what we're really in, back into our organic source, I guess is the best way to put it. In no way am I an expert on Mayan culture, but I have spent so much time really feeling into the visions that I've had, dreams that I've had, and of course researched much in terms of organic time, because organic time came into my awareness years ago. And what repeatedly comes up in part of that all is Mayan long-term system of tracking. And this long-term system is really connected into galactic time. So galactic time, universal time, this is really what I would call sidereal time, or we could say it's like real time. So real time is getting back into many aspects of our realm as it connects to other worlds, other systems, we could say. And so many aspects of our realm connects to other worlds, and it's all related, many of us feel, into soul, S-O-L, our sun, and our galactic system actually reconnecting to a previous or origin system that we were once connected to that had gotten disconnected, and now we are connecting back into, which is Andromeda. Now, in the organic sun calendar or the organic solar calendar, that's what is also connected to real time. In that construct, there are 13 months. Months actually also has been said 13 moon cycles, which is just a way of tracking. So the moon holding no significance, but it's really about the sun, tracking the solar calendar. And there is long-term ability to count and track huge cycles, millions of days kinds of cycles. The ability to get back in sync with organic time is a wisdom that has been hidden from us for far too long. So that's why it's really imperative to talk about this as part of this great shift. The Gregorian, as it's called, calendar that we use now is false, and it's inorganic, and it's taken humanity far away from the living natural world, which is, of course, extremely vital for us to reconnect into. The true organic calendar was hijacked by dogmatic religion that created the false calendar. What we have to face is this truth that we've been wrapped around fake time, an inorganic construct, and it's kept us from being held within the living natural world. So the real time is connected to the organic solar calendar, or we could simply say organic sun calendar, and it's always accurate, even many thousands of years after it was all created, because it's actually the real and organic way of tracking time. So I call the Druids of the before time, not the Druids that came later. It's hard to really say this without going into a whole thing, but there's Druids of the before, the organic Druids that later then became the Celtic Druids. So in the Druidic essence, there actually were hijacked and fake versions of Druids that actually were evil sorcerers, if we will. And so I'm not speaking about those. I'm speaking about the real ones, the organic ones, not connected to royalty. So those Druids that you have seen connected with the royalty in England, nope, that's the fake kind. Yeah, that's the ones I'm not talking about. Those ones are the vile ones. So this true lineage of the Druidic lineage also used this time. So the Mayan culture, Druids, we could go all around the world and we could find this real tracking of real time through the organic solar calendar. And so through the Druidic lens, it became known as the Eightfold Wheel of the Year. The Wheel of the Year is not associated with any religion. It is often attributed to Wicca. That is not the truth. Wiccan religion actually took that framework and utilized it. It has nothing to do with that religion. So the true organic solar calendar is non-denominational. It has nothing to do with any religion. It was the way the true primordial ancients that were connected to the earth actually tracked time. And so sidereal time, or universal time, galactic time, I go into this in a video that I created called Galactic Secret of Lion's Gate and Truths About Our Sun and Ancient Commit. So you can watch that if you want to for a little more details. But the Mayans themselves, at the 2012 end, of the world, was not the end of the world. They never tracked the end of the world. It was basically an end of what they called a Baktun, and then a beginning of a new Baktun, a new cycle. So a Baktun is 144,000 days. Interesting, don't you think, about this 144,000 number? So in totality, we are in the 5th epoch of humanity. Now, I know this to be true because the consciousness that I stream, or we could say that the angle of light that I can see through, has shown the other epochs and times. And this angle of light that I am seeing through, that I can see through, has been known as Goddess Brigid. But it's more accurate to say that it's a cosmic lineage, really. And this is a lioness lineage. It's the lineage of Ariel. And this angle of light, Ariel, if we look at Hebrew, it means lioness of God. And El meant Elohim. This lineage is a fierce lineage of guardians of the organic and the original Cosmic Mother's template, which was originally on and held within the timeline of Terra. So if you're attached into this lineage, you have the memories of Terra as well. So this lineage has come through in each of the epochs, even before this living world actually had living beings. And actually this lineage was part of configuring the organic Blu-ray into the living organic grid system of this planetary experience that we call Earth. But in its ascended forms, it was Terra and Gaia. So we have a trinity form. Now, the Mayan long count, or we could say how they were numbering days, includes counting the Baktun, which I mentioned, which is one Baktun is 144,000 days. So that equates to about 394 years. So 20 of those, 20 Baktuns, equates to a Piktun, which is essentially 2.8 million days. So you can see that this is a really long counting system about the tracking of large cycles of what we call time. So in 2012, it was the end of the 13th Baktun, then the beginning of a new one. And again, so we're in a new 144,000 days, essentially, since 2012. So in their system, the Mayan system, there are 7 more Baktuns in the Piktun. So we could say there's about 2,760 years until the current Piktun ends. So that's a lot, I know. But the intriguing aspect here, and why I wanted to mention this, is because they believed that at the end of each Piktun, which is about 2.8 million days, that the world is destroyed and then rebirthed. So ultimately what they were tracking is a universal time. Now, when we mix that with all the things that we know, that there are epochs of humanity that have ended in destruction, we know this to be true because there were many lineages that have held on to this wisdom, even with the burning of all these beautiful, wonderful, magnificent ancient scrolls, text, manuscripts, whatever. Even with that, and even with the complete and genocidal destruction of almost all of the guardians of these kinds of teachings, and that includes the original Druids, they can't stop this information because it's encoded in many of us and it's coming online. And so you just can't stop it. But we can see this actually embedded into the Hopi prophecy, even, of which I spoke in depth at a recent live stream called Purification and Progress, Rising to the Energies of the Higher Consciousness Trajectory that we're on. So you can watch that if you want. I go into that in further detail. All of this is to say 2012 was not an end, not a destructive end, but it was a shift, and a huge one at that. Because after the Atlantean cataclysm, which was a very horrific cataclysm, the question that and the planning that had to come into play was wrapped around what should be done. What should be done? The guardian races of beings that assisted this living being, this planet, humanity, Each time there's a restart, each time there's a reboot with these epochs, it's not really successful. It's not working, really. And so it's required a lot more effort to get to the point of figuring out, how do we pull back in? The energies are just too extreme. The lower frequencies are too extreme. They're the vile, the evil energies that just keep pulling and anchoring consciousness down and down. And yes, that was for a purpose. Now there is no purpose because it's too much. Just look around, just open our eyes for 3 seconds. Look around. Too extreme. When they're in the creation, the true creation evolution process, it's evolution. People say ascension. It is evolution of souls through experience. Evolution, as we see, has totally been prolonged because now there's an extreme tear in the creation because it is now being pulled so much so into de-evolution. So you have inorganic and organic fighting. And I know that if we really think into this, we can feel that viscerally. So building what I have seen in the guardian consciousness in which I tap into, and it is the great strategy. That's what I call it. So it's about bringing and weaving divine consciousness of the Orapheme, other masters, other guardian consciousnesses, conscious beings from the creator worlds, inner worlds, that have really been part of this. This is the guardian consciousness strategy, that there can't be a wiping out and a starting over. It has to happen differently. So there has been so much planning, so many arcs of light, stars bringing in frequencies, the sun bringing in the needed frequencies to shift us into the next octave. As there are typically cycles, it's being done differently this time. This time, the cleansing and the shifting is happening with living creation still on completely the planetary being. That's us, you, me, all the things. So we are here while there's a shedding of the old layer. Like, you can think of the shedding of a snake's skin, if you will, to be transmuted into a newer version, if you will. So there's going to be a lot of shifts and a lot of what feels like chaos as we shift into a new density, and the new frequencies, the higher frequencies, come pouring in more and more. And I see this as a complete purging of the old and energies that just are not necessary any longer to serve in the way that has been, because it's not serving the greater whole anymore. So this makes the time that we're in right now way more intriguing, I think. And I feel this on every level. I know many of you feeling this, that if you're really tapping into the consciousness that you're holding, if you feel that these codes and you're feeling these truths come in, we have to really get down to this core feeling of that, and remembering that humanity, that organic living creation, is divine form in matter. Matter is God's source in creation experience. So the igniting of energies is we're feeling these codes coming on. We're being reminded of the oneness. This is the Christic body coming to life within our energetic field. This is Christ consciousness. This is unity. We could actually say it's a fully attuned human. Once again, because that was here, that has happened, it's an eternal now. So this is something that we are being very much brought into the awareness of, many of us, because as your energetic field gets to that layer, it ignites. It's a sacred fire. I actually talk about this in a recent video as well. And it's true, there's many unknown energies, because when you shift into a new octave, there's a huge energetic shift and wave. And the shift is happening in the light body of the planetary being. This means that the astral body, the astral layer, which we have as well, is being cleansed, being purged, as ours also needs to be. So it happens within us, and it happens within the animals, and it happens within the earth. I could keep going. It's a whole trickle effect. It's regeneration is what it really is. It's almost not even a birthing as much as it is a regeneration phase. Shedding of the old regenerates this being into seemingly what is many say is new, but it's not new. Really not. It's going back or going into origin energies, organic energies that were alive at one time. We find ourselves living through this and within this regeneration phase. And it's why many of us feel that the lowest of low parasitic entities, energies that desire constant de-evolution through massive suffering, I call this the evil, vile, whatever faction that really wants to stifle true organic creation process. They want to create their own quote unquote God system. They're putting out very extremely desperate measures to try to bring as many down with them. Humanity and all of living creation, though, is totally on the other trajectory, springing up, lifting out phase. So we have stargates, we have reconnections into other systems that is actually going to allow those energies to be absorbed back into source, into primeval source. No longer can any world survive with the hijacking of the souls, with the hijacking of consciousness. This faction would rather do away with living creation evolution and create the inverted version, as we have seen happening before our very eyes. It's what this faction does. They're with their human puppets. It's what they have called the New World Order. So they must have spent hours coming up with that one. Anyway, the organic unity consciousness, the organic Christ consciousness, is a vibration of divine consciousness. It's the organic state of being part of and melded with primeval creator, the true Trinity creation, Mother, Father, God. Many of us know and feel that we're lifting, or we are beginning to lift, is probably a better word, out of the miasma. Now, I like this word. You'll probably hear me say it a lot if you're new to my channel, but miasma means a poisonous atmosphere, formerly thought to rise from swamps and putrid matter and causes diseases. That's pretty much it, isn't it? Now, we keep moving out of this by cleansing and purging from within us to be ignited, getting into that ignited state of our Christic body that turns on unity consciousness or taps into unity vibrations or waves of light. And what I really want to bring to light today, along with all of what I have talked about so far, is this divine human igniting again, and the way that human is even spelled, H-U. Origin is far more than these silly stories that have kept us so anchored in low consciousness and mind control programs, because these BS stories about the females always doing something wrong and we actually caused the fall of man, these are false. Bits and pieces of truths are always peppered into things, but we've got to go much farther back. Before men got involved, meaning the ones that want to de-evolve humanity, before they got involved with effing up all the stories, we need to rewrite them from a place of different consciousness. And also, you've probably heard many times that humans are the vile problem. They're the sole responsibility of where we're at today. That isn't true either. I'm going to challenge that as well, and I'm going to offer something new and bringing back origin truths and what humans are, what this planetary being is, and so much more. So the celestial blueprint holds the key to unfolding events of this paradigm shift of consciousness. Absolutely is intertwined with us, with humanity, remembering the divinity that we are. Through the miasma, we must see these truths. The genesis of human really is a profound truth. Us remembering what the word human, as it's written, at least in English, what that even really means, because there are really profound meanings in that. Humanity is and always has been part of the actual organic living world. That the organic state of human is to live by each other's happiness and progress and joy, not living in misery together. And we have felt a separation from the organic and the original matrix. That beautiful matrix was engineered by an ancient founder or ancient builders that have served as guardians. And by coming back into this, what does HU really mean? HU means harmonic universe. And then man doesn't mean male. It means something far more magical, which I'll get into in a moment. So the purpose of original creation that was held and is being uncovered is that this HU, hue, is a sacred sound. And in the ancient whispers of ancient lore, we can go back and back in what we call time. And this HU sacred sound is referred to as God's source consciousness sound. Sufi mystics in the high peaks of Tibet also echo this primordial sound as being part of the very genesis of creation. And thousands of years ago, there were Druidic, the organic Druid tales that also spoke of this sacred sound, HU. There's also Gnostic scriptures that also speak of this sacred sound. So HU has been known as a sound of the supreme being or original source, and it's been called very many different things in different languages. Creation tales, as old as time itself, entwine with the energy and the vibration that HU is associated as a celestial word. I was drawn into this sound of hue many years ago. And when I really felt into this, I started to feel into the truth that human is the harmonic universe man, and man does not mean male. And there's this book called The Flaming Door, and this author actually connects the sacred sound to the Celtic Druid lineage as well. Hue was associated with ascent out of the body and into a glorified state of expansion of the consciousness in the spiritual world. If you can, bring in chants of hue into your morning meditations, and that could be a potential really beautiful experience for you as well. Because many of us are stepping back in as our role as guardians. Many are stepping back in as grid workers. There's a lot of us that are doing sacred missions that are helping in very unique and beautiful ways. This all is the wave of energy that can assist in lifting things out of this black goo, out of this muck. And so the emphasis on hue and human is really a powerful way to get back into that sacred seat, really seeing the beauty of the sacred human form, and that the harmonics are the beautiful original sounds of the true organic universe is what is coming back online. And this entire grid, the organic grid of our world, was a great white lion grid. And I have talked about this in many of my videos here. And the organic aspects of that carries the harmonic frequency of truth, of wisdom, and the true magic of humanity's reconnection. And what's happening now is the reconnection through the cosmic mother vibrations. HU is harmonic universe. Now we need to just break this down as simply as possible. Man, that's important to really know. Etymology, by the way, this is where we get to truths. As you well know, if you watch many of my videos, this is where we go, because it really brings up and serves the point of view and perspective that's really vital for us to remember. Okay. So we have M, A, and N. We've got to break this down. So M is the 13th letter of the alphabet, but that's the English alphabet. But the root of that is Semitic, mem, M-E-M, and it's also connected into Greek, mu. So the Semitic form comes from a much earlier sign that actually represents waves of water, which is this. Now, you can see where the letter M comes from within this symbol. The ancient language is where we also need to go. So ancient Hebrew, M connects to the word Mayim, and this means water or waters, and it's a masculine noun. So Mem stands for Mayim, which means water. Now, of course, water means the vital element, the sacred waters of our bodies, the sacred waters of the cosmic mother's womb, the sacred waters of this earth. So M stands for the masculine principle of water, movement in action. Okay. Now let's look at A is the first letter of the English alphabet, but it's, again, goes back to ancient Hebrew or Hebrew into Aleph, spelled different ways. When you look at the image, the image of Aleph symbolizes the powerful unity of the divine energy in both the material and spiritual worlds. So Aleph is also connected to the ox or the bull. These animals were always seen as signifying strength, power. So A also represents original or first, so primal energy. So it's denoted, even in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. A is creation, it's origin of life. Okay, so now we have the A. Okay, so now let's look at N. This is the 14th letter of the English alphabet. But again, go back. It's actually derived from a root word called nun or nun that represents a fish. When looking at the ancient Hebrew meaning, it means nun or nun means that which is hidden in the ocean depths, hidden, intimate, feminine. So you can also tie this nun or N back into Sanskrit, and in Sanskrit it means nana or mother. When you weave this into really looking at what nun or nun means, what mother means in these ancient languages, we have Sanskrit, we have ancient Hebrew. What we are seeing is that this is tying in to this concept that in ancient Egypt, even, for example, this letter, this representation comes from the primordial waters of chaos. So it's primeval waters. And so these primeval waters is a feminine principle. And so the concept of nun or nun represents a formless or chaotic state before the universe was organized. So N becomes a feminine principle of water. So therefore, the word man, we have the first or beginning of the male and female principle of water or creation. So origin really hides these codes. Human is even hiding these codes that you can feel the Holy Trinity is even written into these simple letters. Because again, words were not words at one point. They were symbols that had intentions attached to them. This is the beautiful thing of what the real human means. Harmonic universe man, a creation of organic and original creation, primeval waters, in a dualistic form of masculine and feminine waters, energies. So this is divine human. This is you. This is me. This is all of humanity, and all of the creation around us is created through these beautiful primeval waters. Now, we must bring in the animals, the plants, the life givers, the bountiful earth, all of this intertwining in these beautiful primeval energies. Truly, when we think about it from this context, this feels like beauty. This is really where I want to take this, and in the now time, remembering this. Because in chaos, sometimes it's very hard to remember these critical foundational points that the humans, we have always meant to be truly divine creators at that. So I hope that you feel, as I do now, that this is a really vital time to remember this. It's a vital time because as the hijackers try to just tighten their grip around things, it can get pretty intense. And we are in a reckoning time. We are in a reclamation time. And so we need to rise up and stand in the eternal glory in which we were created. We were always created. And may this serve as a reminder of that divinity, because that is your true form. I hope that this helps you awaken more of your innate and beautiful magic and helps us together to remember the original creation magic once again. Please share this channel with others. Subscribe to this channel if you feel called, because this is about illuminating the paths of the star seeds with sacred missions, because we are the pioneers in this massive paradigm shift of consciousness. Thank you for supporting and for watching.